Hello everyone and welcome back to another Riot Group article review video, and today we're going to go over the latest situation with President Donald Trump in the United States of America, and we are going to be looking at and following up on the article written by Maria Paula Gijon. So please go check it out on the description below of the video and read her full article. It's going to be a lot more than this video. So let's think about what we know that's happened lately with Trump. In the short answer, there's been three main things, right? So first of all, we know that Trump has terminated relations between the United States and the WHO. Second of all, we know that following Australia's steps, an investigation on the origins of the virus has begun. China has even agreed to it. And third of all, Trump continues to blame China alongside the WHO of the coronavirus. Now, we know that here at Riot Group you expect us to do a little bit more, so let's go with the long answer of what's going on. Ever since the beginning of the pandemic, Trump has been very quick to blame it all on China. For basically everything related to the pandemic, even getting to the point of calling it the Chinese flu. At first, it seemed that Trump was just being Trump, right? However, as of May 29, he actually went ahead and terminated the relationship with the World Health Organization, something unprecedented. As you all must know by now, the World Health Organization is the multilateral branch of the United Nations, specifically created for global health emergencies, precisely what came up just now. Initially, the idea of the US, and more importantly of its massive funds towards the WHO, really did not please any of the world leaders. For instance, Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission, called international cooperation during this time and did not support Trump on what he did. This was really a no-brainer. Or for instance, the general director of the World Health Organization itself denounced that Donald Trump was simply using this detachment from this World Health Organization to score political points. Might have been the case, might have not. However, everyone disagreed with him, and in May, Trump left the World Health Organization knowing that he could have most political leaders in the world against his decision making. How did he justify it? Of course, using
China. You take China.
Trump and the Republican Party in general, really, they all firmly believe that China is behind the rise of the coronavirus. There is a wide range of allegations coming from Trump, for instance, and more on the conspiracy side. He has stated his government is trying to figure out whether the virus came from a Chinese lab or it was accidental. We all know what they really think. However, the allegation that matters the most, right, and this is why we're here today, is the claim that China, alongside the WHO, covered the whole thing up and provided false information that made the spread of the pandemic ever much worse than it should have ever been. This allegation is important because it isn't merely an angry tweet. In reality, many world leaders question both China and the WHO for the handling of the beginning of the pandemic. So really, at first, the US abandoning the WHO seemed like removing firefighters from the actual fire, as well as blaming the Chinese just looked like a cheap way of getting out of the situation and distracting your population. However, the situation has changed since then. Now, Trump's blame game against China seems a bit contagious alongside every other leader in the world. Where is this getting contagious in particular in the world? Well, close to here in the UK, the Conservative politicians are speaking up more and more against China for blaming it against the virus and the cover-up with Trump-like anger. Does not seem like Trump's alone anymore. On the other hand as well, the EU came close to publishing a report blaming China for a massive spread of misinformation. After sufficient pressure from Beijing and a bit of diplomacy, the report was watered down, but the sentiment of China being blamed for remains there. Now, you may think that this is good because we're getting to some point and some conclusion, but it can also be seen as very bad news because in terms of international stability, And as diplomacy and multilateralism goes, this is being replaced with Sino-American blaming forth and forward, which is not useful to a constructive world and criticism. While the faith of the WHO is up for grabs, there is a clear lack of leadership in the world, and whether more countries decide to follow Trump or not and blame China or not, the world is going to remain uncertain with no clear leadership. The underlying issue here that we all have to take away is that transparency and cooperation, something that maybe 5 years back seemed unquestionable, is now more and more scarce, and that's the big problem. To know more about how this story continues, read the whole article in the description of the video, and as always you can find more information about all the world leaders on our riotgroup.org website, and you can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and even our LinkedIn account. So just remember that once you see it, you won't help but notice. See you in the next article review. Until next time.